All right, it is a beautiful Sunday evening. It's perfect for doing some technical stuff and some research. And this is my walkthrough for FamousOrbitJ, the main file I use to do astrology research. If you want to research astrology statistically, then you may do it using some other tools out there. But the one I used in order to basically do stuff for myself was a mutated Excel file. And this is one of the 4 or 5 main Excel files that does it. This is actually the big one though. I've gone through and I put in some famous people from Astro Data Bank, and so the ADBs are all um, that. And first of all, let me just tell you how to get started with it if you don't want to watch the rest of this video. If you know how to get FamousOrbitJ working and you have followed all the instructions and stuff, then you're almost certainly going to want to put in your own information. To put in your own information from Excel, go ahead and right click on a line and insert. It may take a while because there's actually a ton of data in here, but you will insert your own information, first name and last name and all that, and then make sure you fill in the information in the highlighted green areas. So if you've got some person with some new information, then you have to put in their birth time, put in their latitude, longitude. No, there isn't any atlas attached to this, so you're going to have to figure that out on your own. Uh, put in whether their daylight savings time. That is 1 for yes, 0 for no. If they're in the east, so I mean, do you add for the eastern hemisphere versus the western hemisphere? Um, we have a lot of western hemisphere people if you're born in the US. In the western hemisphere, you put a -1. In the eastern hemisphere, you put a +1. So, and that's just how the time zones are going to be adjusted. Take the information that you put for latitude and break it up into latitude 1 and latitude 2. That's not going to be good enough though, so you're going to have a decimal version of that. Um, Now I have hard coded this and it says 39.95, but what I usually do is the equal sign, and it'll equal this plus this divided by 60, and it gives you the same thing. Okay, so enter that, and actually uh, the gray stuff normally auto populates. This one only auto populates on my data. So if you're downloading this, let me find myself in here. I don't know where I am. Oh, here I am, right here, number 0. Okay, this is the only one that auto-populates properly, and you're like, why the hell would you do that? Um, well, it's because the memory gets ridiculous if I have formulas for everybody. So I only have formulas for the 0th line. That's why this thing is gray. If you fill out everything in neon green, then you let me go ahead and mark this one actually there. If you fill out everything in neon green, then uh, you'll find that the stuff in the grayish automatically fills in. So you're going to put this one in, put this one in, and the gray will auto-populate if you use this one. Feel free definitely to replace this with your own data. Just know that as you add people, uh, the gray stuff auto-populates if the formulas are there. You see how these have formulas, like up here? That's a formula, but these don't. That was a memory saving thing. When I had formulas for everybody in here, the Excel took forever. Anyway, make sure you fill out all the green. Then you've got the day, you've got the month, and you've got the year of birth. And then you've got a Julian calculation. And again, um, this will auto calculate if you're using the ones with the formulas. If you're not, you might just want to go to something like Starfisher and have Starfisher tell you what the true Julian was. You may be thinking that you can skip all this, but if you plan to use house cusps like the ascendant and the midheaven, you in fact cannot skip all this. So, it's a bit of a bummer. That's why this file isn't bigger, because you have to do it by hand, but it'll be worth it. It'll definitely be worth it. Okay, so that's all the stuff that needs to be filled in. Let me move over to this check here. I have the sun sign, which you can just use to cross-check to make sure you're in the right ballpark. So you can check it against any other program, which will tell you Timothy Leary's sun sign down to the minute. So degrees, minutes, and seconds, actually down to the second. So use that to make sure that all your previous data from the other columns is right. Okay, next. You don't have to touch any of this stuff. Now, I'm kind of proud of this file, if I say so myself, because everything after what I just showed you is done automatically. Let me give you an example. I've listed my favorite asteroids up here. This one is now called Albion, by the way. So 1992 QB1, also known as 92Q in my book Laurentia, is now referred to as Albion. But if you type Albion, Excel won't be able to find it. It may give you numbers, but don't believe those numbers. It's actually looking in my lookup table for the guy who looks closest to Albion. So you're going to have to be careful with that. But anyway, so I've got Clytemnestra here, and this is the location. There are lots and lots of hidden columns in this file, by the way. So right between here and here, you actually have the columns with the sun and the moon and Venus and Mercury and Mars and all that stuff. Let me give you a preview of it. Yeah, so it's got not only the actual sun and the moon and Mercury and Venus and this, based on all the information from those neon green columns, but then it starts doing aspects. What's the degree of separation between Clytemnestra and Jupiter, or Nema and Selene, or the moon and Mars? So all that stuff is hidden because what good is this to you? It's just a bunch of numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and fold those back up again, and I'll just tell you that here you've got the locations of these special asteroids and stuff, but and you can sort on them. So let's say you've got a new asteroid. I think I may have, let me cheat here. Go to my asteroids file, just pick one. How about Libera? You want to see Libera. I'm gonna go in here, and instead of using, let's dump Euryclea, Libera. Okay, there. So this is everybody's Libera. This is where it is in the chart. So 164 is going to be 14 degrees in Virgo, I believe. 220 is going to be 10 degrees in Scorpio, and that's what all that means. This is just the degree stuff. Now, here we can see I've got Libera midheaven aspects. If you're doing research and you want to know what a foreign asteroid does, let me zoom out a little bit, then all you basically need is, zoom out a little bit more, all you basically need is the asteroid's sign position and the asteroid's aspect to the midheaven, given that you actually have accurate birth times for these guys. That's it. That's all you need to really kind of get an idea of what that asteroid does. Now, if that's not enough for you, then you can put in other kinds of things. But you'll have to unfold this and experiment with that. I don't really want to spend time on it. The point is that it's all in here. Pay particular attention, by the way, if you're doing the astro research, to how non-asteroids get calculated. So, for example, let me unfold this again and go over to the midheaven. See, like these are using a Swiss calc lookup of body number 4, which is Mars. The Jupiter uses a Swiss calc lookup of body number 5, but the ascendant uses mod Swiss houses of body number 1, I believe. The midheaven uses mod Swiss houses of body number 2, and so on. And the reason I have this +0 is because sometimes I like to do anti-planets. So for the vertex, if you want to show the anti-vertex, then what you might do is a mod Swiss houses on body number 4, but you'll do a plus 180 there. So that's what that's for. Okay, anyway. Now, the aspects are reduced to harmonics here. So for example, Clytemnestra Nema is a 36 harmonic for Annie Sprinkle here. Clytemnestra Nema is a 25th harmonic for Barbara Bush, and it's a 20th harmonic for Lana Turner and a 16th harmonic for Jay-Z. And if we wanted to know what the Clytemnestra Nema planet pair did, the way we did planet pairs in full spectrum astrology, then we would just sort on these, and there you go. So it's going to sort on who has conjuncts, who has oppositions, who has trines, who has quintiles, who has septiles, and so on. And so you can figure out what this thing is telling you. One of my favorite historical characters, St. Catherine, apparently has a Clytemnestra Nema. Clytemnestra indicates the queen. Nema is for what you're known for, so she's known for queenly status, and I guess that's what happens when you're canonized, when you're a saint. Okay, I don't have a lot of time in this video. Let me quickly run through some of the other features here. Another kind of secret feature in FamousOrbit here is resolution. This little box up here is actually the aspect resolution. So let's say you have not yet memorized what a 29th harmonic does or a 36th harmonic does, and you're just really bothered by having to use 36s in there. Well, what you could do is change the resolution to 1. If you change it to 1, it basically does only the major angles, conjunct, opposition, trine, yada yada yada, up to the inconjuncts, and the only time it's going to do harmonics higher than that is if the stuff is just too wide. So there are certain angles that none of the majors will cover, not a 1. And so, for example, if guys are separated by 15 degrees, there's nothing in the major angles or the minor angles that do that. No inconjunct, no septile, no octile, none of that will tell you what 15 degrees is. And so there I kind of go back down to the higher ones. But other than that, use resolution 1 if you only want to go up to the majors. If you only want to use the first 36, which is what I use for doing most of mine, then resolution 2. And if you're feeling brave and you think you understand all 144 aspects, I certainly don't, then you can have a resolution of 3. I only really do this when there are just too many people with 1s and I can't separate them. So I have to actually break out the third book, 144, to kind of remember what I found there. But anyway, there you go. Now, I think that's about where I want to stop for this recording. I'll do another recording which tells you a little bit about the rest of the contents of this file.